Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the Little French Homestead. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Sherry. Today, we will be restocking my freezer with some delicious homemade breakfast sandwiches, breakfast burritos, and egg muffins. I have preheated my oven to about 375 degrees for all of today's recipes, and I will link them in the description box down below. A pro tip: if you are cooking a lot of bacon like I am here today, it's easier and quicker to use your oven. I cook the bacon for about 15 to 20 minutes on aluminum foil, but you can use parchment paper for a quicker and easier cleanup and throw it away when you are done. But make sure you save that bacon grease. You can use the bacon grease to add flavor and depth to many dishes. The bacon grease is good in the refrigerator for up to 6 months. You want to store it in a glass mason jar with a plastic lid. Now I am working on the ground sausage. This is for the burritos. I have 1.5 pounds in my frying pan, and I've added some frozen onions to this. You want to make sure that the sausage has a nice brown crisp on it. That's going to add flavor to the sausage. So while I'm waiting, I am making my ground sausage patties. So in a mixing bowl, I have about 1.5 pounds of sausage and all of my spices. Again, I will link that below for you so you can use that recipe. I make them into a ball first, and then when I add them to the frying pan, I find it easier to press down with a spatula, and I'm only adding about 4 at a time. You want to make sure you don't overcrowd your pan. They come out a little smaller than what I have liked, but still they will be eaten and thoroughly enjoyed. Once you've removed your bacon from the oven, place the bacon on a paper towel to absorb that grease. Once the bacon has cooled a bit, then I will give them a really great chop. Now I am adding them to these paper-lined muffin tins. I have 24. Now, my husband asked me to make these for him. He is trying to lay off the bread products, so I need to make sure that he still has getting a protein-packed breakfast. I will be adding some cheese and some eggs to this as well. Baking them in the oven, again, 375 for about 20 minutes. Now, if you've been here for a while, you know that my husband works overnights, and he gets home around 6 a.m. He has been told by his doctor not to eat when he gets home anymore. So now when he gets home, he'll just be having a cup of tea and then going to sleep. Upon waking up, he will then enjoy his breakfast: 2 Egg McMuffins, 1 banana, and about a 1/4 cup of blueberries and another cup of tea. Now remember, his mother was British, and we love tea in our house. Now, since my oven is empty, we are going to add the eggs for the sandwiches on a baking sheet lined with aluminum foil on the bottom and parchment paper for easy removal and cleanup. I have here in my bowl cracked 18 eggs. Now, I did have to go and buy a 30 case or 30 pack of eggs because my chickens were not producing the amount of eggs that I was going to be needing for all of these recipes. Now, I like to go ahead and mix the eggs before I pour the milk in. It's easier to see if you got all of the yolks mixed. Once the eggs are thoroughly mixed, I added about 1 cup of milk, remixed, and then I poured the mixture onto a baking sheet. I carefully pushed a fork, or you can use a spoon, into the corners of the baking sheet with the egg mixture in. I wanted to make sure that all of it was covered in all four corners. And then I baked it in the oven again, 375 degrees for about 15 minutes or so. I did carefully slide the baking rack almost all the way out to gently place the baking sheet on it. You want to move slowly as not to spill any of the eggs. Then slide it back in slowly. When you are checking the egg mixture, make sure it's not jiggling anymore. So once you shake the pan a little bit, if there's no jiggling, that means it's all set and it's settled. When I did take this out of the oven, I just pulled up the parchment paper, and while the eggs were cooling, I did add the cheese on top so the cheese would be melted and ooey gooey. So after I placed those eggs in the oven, it took me a little bit, and I cracked another 18 eggs. I mixed the eggs, then I added the milk and mixed again. I am using a 1/4 cup measuring so I could add those into my muffin liners, and I'm going to be placing those in the oven also for about 20 minutes. I did not want to put these in the oven right at this particular moment when I got done. My sheet eggs were almost ready, and I did not want to keep opening and closing my oven, because if you do that, you lose about 10 degrees of heat. So I waited a few more minutes, and then I placed them in the oven. So now it's time to wrap everything all up. I have made here 6 plain bagels with American cheese, sausage patties, and egg. Per my twins, because they have braces, they find the plain bagels are better for them to eat instead of their favorite bagels, which are everything bagels, because I guess the seeds are getting caught in their braces. So when they asked very nicely, I obliged. We have here some biscuits, also with cheese, onion, and sausage patties. I was 3 sausage patties shy, so thankfully I still had some bacon left over, so I added 3 with bacon. Now, I did wrap all of these all up. You are welcome to go ahead and keep as many as you and your family need in the refrigerator. You would want to pull these out the night before you want to eat them so they can thaw thoroughly in your refrigerator overnight. You don't have to, but it is recommended that you do that. It actually helps in the cooking process, because if it's cooking from frozen, then it's going to take a lot longer, and then your biscuits or your bagel might be harder to enjoy instead of a nice soft bagel that you would do if you've taken it out of the refrigerator or out of the freezer and put it in the refrigerator to thaw. After about 2.5 hours of cooking and standing on my feet, I did take a couple of small breaks. My family and I can now enjoy having 6 breakfast bagels, 16 breakfast biscuits, 24 egg muffins. And I'm about to sit there after I organize all this, because I wanted to see how much could fit on that tray, because I was going to stick them in the freezer on my sheet tray until they all got thoroughly frozen, and then I'm just going to go ahead and place them all in just a plastic grocery bag to keep them from falling everywhere in the freezer. Now I am doing my burrito mix. It is actually cooled and ready to use. I have 8 large wraps here, and I'm using about a half a cup measuring scoop, and I'm just rolling them all up in the saran wrap. They're going to go back in the bag that they originally came in, and again we're going to go ahead and stick them in the freezer. These are very delicious. I have made these many times. My girls really wanted to use the bigger wraps instead of the small ones this time around. The small ones, they were actually having 2 at a time. And now that they've been enjoying these ones, because this video I done a week before putting it out, that they're almost all gone. And they love the fact that I used the one large one. The one large burritos for these. Now I just want to also to say thank you so much for allowing me to come into your home today. If you like this video, please like, share, comment down below, but most importantly, go ahead and subscribe, click that notification button, and as always, keep on cooking. Bye.